Episode of Well Women Wednesday. I'm Nakeia Drummond. I'm founder of the Well and founding executive director of She's Well Network. We are an organization that supports Black women business owners in all things community collaboration, confidence, capital, and celebration. We're here to completely uplift the Black woman entrepreneur and to do it in the spirit of sisterhood and togetherness. Today, I am here with one of the She's Well Network board members, a colleague, friend, my better half at times, I've called her. We are yin to each other's yang, or the other way around in our working environments, because I'm all things what, and she is absolutely the queen of how. So we vibe heavily when we work together. So let me tell you about her a little bit, and I'm going to read some of it because I want to get it right. This is Delshan Baker. She's an infrastructuralist. She's going to tell you more about that, who advises organizations and execs on the operations needed to make intentionals into actuals. All right, y'all. She installs the tools, practices, and systems that amplify happy and high-performing teams. You want to be happy, you want a high-performing team, you got to have your infrastructure and your operations straight, and she is the lady to do it. She's the founder and CEO of Endeavor TBD. We're going to talk more about the name of her business, too. It's a funny story. An operations firm for the socially vested. They're all about how. I told you she's the queen of how. Since its inception in 2020, Endeavor TBD has served organizations with transformational local impact. She's a Baltimore girl through and through. National influence and international reach, including Ashoka Global. Delshan, you are so impressive. Impact Hub Baltimore, the Baltimore Civic Fund, So Far Sounds, Unbound Ed, and Upsurge Baltimore. She has her hands in a lot of major movements. Before founding Endeavor TBD, Delshan spent 20 years in the social sector, managing finance, talent, HR, IT, strategic planning, and key project and program implementations. This woman has done a little bit of everything. And even in the midst of that, she finds ways to escape from the world altogether. Yes. Like the whole thing. So I'm so excited to share a conversation between us with the world. We have lots of amazing conversations about all the things. And so really happy to have you here today. And we just wrapped up a retreat.
Oh, yes.
And so we're in this amazing space where we are, have done some strategic planning and are now just winding down. And so this conversation is really special because they're coming off of like the high of all that planning and in a gorgeous space, in like a really, really lovely space. So let's kick it off. Let's go. So what didn't I share about you that people should know before we get into the details?
You've done a beautiful job of sharing so much. Thank you, Nakeia, and thank you for it. I'm excited to be on Well Women Wednesday.
Yes.
I've never done it. So.
Oh, wow.
No, it's my first time. I think what you didn't share is just also the approach of ease. Right, so just trying to do this, like operationalize your business or yourself in a way that allows you to have space to do all of the things that really matter to you. And so being able to build in breaks and rest are part of the game. So that I think that is a big way in the way that we do ops.
Yeah, so can you tell everybody what your life's work is?
My life's work is to not go to work.
Amen.
Yes.
And so all the ways that you're building and creating infrastructure in your life are to set your life up in such a way where you don't go to work.
Yes, and that means more, not that I don't do anything, but that I have choice in the matter of what I work on, who I work with, how hard or not I work.
When.
And so when, where, I think that that I take off 2 months every summer, and so being able to have an ebb and a flow that is natural to me. So that feels like not going to work, or when I'm at work, or when I'm with clients, doing the things that are fun and give me joy. Spreadsheets. I mean, I know that everybody don't like spreadsheets, but I do love spreadsheets. I'm an operations firm, so.
You also love Post-it notes.
I love
really tiny ones.
Yes.
Yeah, and writes the most brilliant full-on plans on like the 1-inch size Post-it notes, the 1.5 inch. It's like brilliant to see. Another thing I think neither of us mentioned is you are an author, a published author. So Delshan has written a book called On Following the Dots. And so tell us just like a quick snippet about your book and how that ties into like infrastructure of your life design.
So the book is about 2 months that I spent in Barcelona in my 30s, traveling alone. And just trying to figure out like who I am, where I needed to be, where I wanted to be, while I was on a year off from kind of a nonprofit but corporate-esque job. And also when I was back in the system, working a job and really kind of falling apart because of that. But it's a memoir, but it's also about self-practice and how you know if you're in the right place at the right time. And so following the dots, like feeling it, and how you build your life. How you build your life.
So I read it like quickly and early in our friendship back in 2020. I've read the book and couldn't put it down. Was it 2020 or 2021 when I read it? I can't remember, but read it really quick. It's a quick and easy read, but also like, it is very like instructional in a way, like kind of gives you some, here's how you can move. And so highly recommend you pick up On Following the Dots. You can get it on Amazon. So there's a quick plug. All right, so let's jump in. This quarter in the Well, we're focused on operations, systems and operations. And that is the part of the business that I feel like most of us try to run away from. Most of us try to run away from. We have all kinds of band-aided, piecemeal things. I don't even call them systems. Ways of being that create so much stress and chaos for us. And it's not the like sexy thing to do, right? Everybody wants to focus on marketing or whatever. Nobody wants to focus on their systems. Meanwhile, if you don't have good systems or structures, even your marketing won't work, right? Like none of the other things that you do will work well. So really excited not only to jump into that quarter in the Well, but also to kick off this new structure that we're piloting, we're testing out, and you being the first person to say, I'll try that model. And this is called our In the Lab residency. And with the In the Lab residency, women who are both Well members and also women who, may just be adjacent in the network space can say, hey, I've got a particular expertise in a space, and I want to. Oh shoot! Somebody's alarm is going off. So go ahead and turn. Delshan's alarm just suddenly started going off. But you have a particular expertise in a space, and you have knowledge to share, but also some structure you want to test out, some format you want to test out for how to teach that knowledge, teach that expertise to others, to implement in their business, but also give you insights that help you refine and perfect the information you have to share. So those who are creating courses, those who do professional developments or facilitations, it gives you this space to really test your model, get feedback. There's a stipend that comes with it because you show up at three points throughout a quarter, not just once. So I'm a former teacher, and I know that learning happens in cycles, not in one time hits. And so we're excited that not only will you share at our meetup upcoming meetup this week, but you will share 2 more times behind that and give people space to try out what you are teaching them. So what do you feel is like the most foundational things about operations in small business, and like where do we get it all the way wrong?
Yes. So my first thing to say is I think ops is one of the things that most small businesses freak out about.
Mm-hmm.
They either freak out about or they avoid. And so part of what I want to do is like, first of all, demystify it. Like what is it?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody has a different definition of what operations or infrastructure is. And so what I like for small businesses to think about is like, what are the functions, roles, and activities that you're doing within your business? And then what are the tools, practices, and systems that you can install to do those? Mm. So as streamlined as that, mm-hmm. and how does that make it easier for you to do the thing mm-hmm. that is your genius? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that, so what we're gonna task is, there are a number of things to opt. So you can opt your project, so the project management, opt your stuff, mm-hmm. that's knowledge management, your mm-hmm. share drive, like where's all your stuff, like mm-hmm. how do you find it? Ops yourself, so there's really self-practice, mm-hmm. it's like what does your calendar look like, mm-hmm. is it color blocked, mm-hmm. How are you optimizing your Gmail, for instance? Does it have tags? Is it auto going somewhere? So you don't have to touch it. My whole thing is, if a robot can do it, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Okay.
And then for what I'm going to teach in the ops residency is like how you ops your business. Like what is the core business infrastructure that you need, like either getting started or mm-hmm. scaling? Mm-hmm. Like where do you start first, and mm-hmm. how do you identify with that stuff? Mm-hmm. How do you identify that stuff?
That's the hard
do over there.
Yeah, that is the hard part. Because when it's like, it's all of it.
Yes.
Like, where do we even begin?
Yes.
Honestly. And so that's exciting. So you're going to help us to prioritize and think about like where to begin.
Yes.
And is it generally the same starting point for everybody?
It's not the same starting point, so it's not necessarily the same tools, practices, or systems. I'll give you an example. So you hear all of these acronyms out there, mm-hmm. CRM, mm-hmm. client relationship management mm-hmm. system, or project management system. That is simply what you use to keep yourself organized and other people, right? So there's a lot of architecture floating out there. Knowledge management system would be your intranet, mm-hmm. like where you go to find stuff, or mm-hmm. even your share drive, if you have one, where you go to find stuff. So depending on where you are in your business, you might start with one of those things. You're mm-hmm. going to start with, what is the highest pain point? Mm-hmm. What is in the way mm-hmm. of you getting to the next thing?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a great question. What's in the way of you getting to the next thing? Highest pain point. Okay. Awesome. Do you feel like when you ask that question, generally people know?
Yes.
Okay.
I think generally businesses know where the pain is.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily know what the solve is, mm-hmm. but they know where the pain is. Like, I asked, what day, like, when you want to fall off your chair? Like, what were you doing? What was hateable? What was hateable about that? And so they can identify the pain. What we do is we're all about how. It's like we want to identify the solution, and so that's what I want to do in the residency. I work with a lot of CEOs and COOs and all types of folks inside businesses, and I hear this a lot. I didn't know which project management system, so I was on YouTube for 4 hours looking at project management systems. And my first response is no. Right? Like that's like ops 101 is take that to somebody who does that all day long. All day long, and it'll be quicker, faster, and actually will be cheaper. And so businesses will tell the pain points and will kind of help direct, okay, that pain point is a tools break, is a practice break, is a systems break, it's actually a people break. You need to hire somebody and help point you in the right direction of what it is.
And so two things. One is that, so my business, and you know this, we use EOS for the most part.
Yes.
Which is an operating system, a way of like operating your business. So it stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. Highly recommend you check it out. This is not, they don't pay me, so you know, it's not like a paid plug. But you know, in that system, I learned that we're either like visionary or like the integrator, right? And so visionary is like where most CEOs sit, where you have a great vision, you know the what. Yeah. You know what you want to do, you know where you want to be, you know where you want to go. You don't necessarily have the how, right? Like, and not like you don't have the how in a big way. Mm-hmm. You do have it in a big way. Mm-hmm. You don't have the how in the granular, micro, detailed way. And that's where the integrator comes in. The integrator really understands how to like break the things apart to get to that how that you're shooting for. And so, you know, what's interesting about that is you're a CEO that really thrives in the how, but like you're a CEO. So like, would you say like you're a unicorn of sorts? Like in that you, like, how does that work for you? You know how it's like the hairdresser doesn't have her hair done, right? So are you not ops? Did you have to hire somebody to do your ops so that you could like stay in the visionary space for your own business? What does that look like for you?
That's a really great question. I don't feel like I'm a unicorn, given what my business is. And so because it's operations business itself, I get to be a visionary. And what does that look like? And so I still am figuring out the visionary things, like how do we want to grow? How do we want to scale? What's our ethos? Who do we operate with? You mentioned it earlier, but we only work with socially vested enterprises. What does that mean? Right? People who are trying to change the generational wealth for Black and brown people, or you could actually be a social enterprise where you're trying to work on the environment, or you're trying to bring about big change. So I'm still in that visionary seat, like how, and then also how do we ops? Like what? And that said, though, I need an integrator also. So I have project managers who are assigned to project manage me.
Got it. Right? Yeah. Because we can't do it all, and we shouldn't. And there are different hats that we need to wear in our own business, even if we have the expertise, right? And so that's, again, like going back to the hairdresser not having her hair done. A lot of times she wants to do her own hair, but she don't have time, and so that's why she doesn't have her hair done, because she is operating her business doing everybody else's hair. And so, you know, she needs somebody else to do hers and realize, like, I can't do all those things for myself and build and serve in the way that I want.
I absolutely do not do my own operations.
So y'all heard it. Like, don't do it. If the ops person is not doing their own operations, you're not an ops person. Like, stop playing with your life. So that's really like that's the message here. If you take nothing else from this. So what do you feel is like your superpower?
I think you mentioned it with the Post-its. I'm not using them now. I should. My superpower really is to take in a lot of information from this disparate information and then clump it together in themes or ways that people can see it more crisply. And it's a lot of what they have said. It's what they have said, and I've been able to give it back to them. And that I think that comes up a lot in my work. It's like when you're an operations firm, you have to become really conversant in the client's business very quickly.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So I've got to know who you are, what you're doing, how it works. Are you manufacturing? Are you service business? Like who are your customers? Who are your clients? Like I have to become you. And very, very quickly. And so I use that superpower of like learning rapidly.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for the business owner who is not going to be in the room when you do this brilliant work with us and like It's like, yes, my ops are, and actually so many of us think that when we're like, okay, I'm going to get my stuff, my operations, my systems together. So then we just start buying a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
We start buying all these platforms and technologies. We might even hire somebody to build it and set it up for us because we realize, like, I don't know how to do this. And we think, like, whew, now I'm ops.
Yes. No.
What advice do you have for her? Because she's right now listening to us, but looking up stuff. And she's like, oh yeah, my ops are a mess. So like, let me get a bunch of systems and platforms and organize my life. What do you have for her?
So I'll preview some of what we're gonna do, and even if you're not going to be there, you can do this exercise. It's called reverse engineering a day or a week. And so you want to write down all of the things that you do in a day, and then tag them with what are they? Are they administrative? Is it finance? Is it marketing? Try to tag it with what we call functional areas. But don't just think, I ask people all the time, well, why are you doing that? Who does that? And they say, like, I don't know. Sarah does that. Shanika does that, right? But why? What are they actually doing, right? That's not a role or a function.
Right.
So I would say that's where you want to start, is really figure out what is going on, because that's the first step to figure out, like, well, what do you even need a tool for?
So is it just what you do as a business owner, or is it what everybody, your whole team does in a day?
It's what your whole team does. But if you're starting from the context of a solopreneur, often you're doing all of the things. For sure. And you don't know where to start because you're doing all of the things. Yeah. And you're like, well, I'm not ready yet, but you are ready for ops. Yeah. And so you have to de-architect yourself and figure out what those roles are. So if you have just one person or even two people, you still want to go through that reverse engineering exercise. And then in terms of tools, you might be able to identify, well, maybe there is a tool or system that's going to help me. And I would recommend at the beginning, go free. You don't want to overbuy or give some plugs to things that are free. Like Asana is a great project management system to start out on. Monday.com.
I've used them both.
Yes, right. There are free versions to all of these. You want to install your practice first before you buy something that you don't necessarily need. What else is free? Toggle to track your time.
We love Toggle.
Yes. So that's what I would recommend. It's like finding free systems that are highly rated.
Although Toggle keeps taking away stuff.
They
do on the free one. Like, we used to give you this, now we're not. Pay for it. But
But now it's only $10 a month per person, right? So after but I would not recommend at the beginning these bigger systems like Salesforce. HubSpot. Not only does it cost a lot, it also costs a lot to build. You need a technician to build it for you. And you really have to know what you do internally, what your practices are, for them to work for you, or you end up just spending money. So that's the second thing I'll preview. So we'll do breaking down into roles, functions, and activities, so you actually know what's going on in your business. And then the second half we'll do is practices. What are the practices that you need to write down? Associated with each of those roles. We call them SOPs. Don't freak out. Just standard operating practices. What is that? It's a standard operating practice.
It's how you do it.
It's just how you do it.
That's just like take it out of your head.
Is 1, 2, 3. It's your notes, right? Your script, if you will. And so, what are those things that you need to write down? Even if you are right now a solopreneur. One tip is, I was writing down practices when it was just me.
Which is great. And I think for a lot of us, that first hire or a significant hire, even if it's not your first, a significant hire that needs to be made pretty early, and that we also waste a lot of money on when we haven't done some of this, is an admin.
Yes.
Because you will find when you go through this, you do a lot of administrative things if you don't have somebody supporting you administratively, and it takes up a lot of your time, and it's necessary and required work, but it's not going to make you any money.
Yes.
But many of us have found that you either hired an admin because you knew you needed it, but and multiple of them probably, and it didn't work out.
Yes.
Because you didn't have things for them to plug into, systems for them to plug into, so that they could really support you. So you got frustrated with them, they were frustrated with you.
Yeah.
Spoken from experience. I think, I went through probably 4 before I had one that where it works, and that was because there were systems in place and we were building them. So definitely excited for you to share this, share everything that you're bringing into the space. And so one of our pillars in the well is collaboration.
Yes.
And I ask this question in most of these conversations: who do you want to collaborate with? Your dream collaboration, and what would y'all do together?
Dream collaboration. Oh my goodness, you put me on the spot. I think Sesame Street.
What? What would y'all do?
I don't know what we would do together.
Awesome. Well, listen, maybe you can start teaching kids how to operationalize their lives real quick, early, so that by the time they are 30, they don't, have meltdowns that many of us have had in, our 30s through early 40s and such, because we burned out doing all the things. Yeah. Oh no, that's so cool. Sesame Street. I love it. Yeah, somebody here knows Sesame Street.
Hook me up.
Hook my girl up. So some people who are listening are salivating, but know that they're not a part of the well. They won't be there to get all of this deep insights. And then the ladies who are members are yes, excited, or either oh God, right? But how does the person who won't get this through the well, but who's oh, you have really piqued my interest, how does she tap into you, find you? Do you even work with her?
Yeah.
And what does she need to do to reach you?
Yeah. We do work with them. We work with scaling businesses with purpose-driven founders, and we do trainings. So we'll do trainings. I failed to mention, I'll definitely give a plug, but I started as a solopreneur. Incubated a lot under your consulting company, and now we are 20 contractors, 50% in Baltimore, 50% national, all over the place. So it is a really scaling operational practice. You can get in touch with us at endeavortbd.com. There's a button on there that says contact us. It says, how can I help you with your how? And let me know, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm on there, very easy. Delshan Baker.
Delshan Baker, Delshan. And so, yes, you mentioned you kind of incubated Endeavor TBD and NLD Strategic, which is my consulting firm. We met in 2020, right before the pandemic.
Yes.
And then pandemic hits. She had left her job right before.
Yes. And
I had been in consulting for some years at that point. A mutual friend connected us. So I reached back out to her, what was that? I think it was April, a month in, ooh, you picked a hell of a time to leave your job. How you doing out there? And we've been together ever since in one way or another. So for what was it, 2 years, you were doing some work with NLD Strategic, and first as client, supporting our clients, and then supporting us with us being a client of yours and helping us with our ops. And just have grown, and it's really exciting to see and watch, and for it to be a story of success, both for the well, really, because you've been a member of the well also, and how we collaborate and businesses incubate inside of businesses that are further along, and then those businesses get to grow. At this point, your consulting firm is larger than mine, and so that's really awesome and exciting. And so, I'm really just proud of you and everything you do, and a fan since the beginning. But before we go, tell people about the name Endeavor TBD because that's pretty hilarious. Yeah. And I think, you know, it speaks to the work that has to be done when we start a thing. Yes. Like, I think you were really like thinking about that early, and I don't think a lot of people do. Like, what do I want? What do I want this business to be? Do I want a solopreneurship? Do I want a business at all? Do I want to really just freelance under someone else and just have to have, you know, have an LLC so I can get paid, but I don't really want to build a thing? And that was a question I asked you early. And I was like, do you want to build a thing? Yes. Or do you want to just do the work? Yes. And so, tell us about the name.
Yes, and you asked me that, and I did not know. Mm-hmm. At that time, I did not want to build a thing, mm-hmm. and so that changes over time as business owners. I never even looked at myself as a business owner, even though I had decided to go out on my own. I was going to be an independent consultant, contractor, doing the same thing I was doing mm-hmm. for organizations for 20 years, just on my own terms, so I could, you know, take off Fridays and start working summer, right? Yeah. So the name came about because of that, and I didn't know if am I a consultant? What am I really doing? Yeah. And I talked to a friend who was in marketing, so, you know, use your network, leverage your people, and had a kind of brilliant conversation. I didn't know what to call it. Mm-hmm. And she just listened to me talk. I was like, well, that was like, it's kind of an endeavor. And she's like, and she spit back all the words, and she's like, you brightened up when you said endeavor. Right? And she's like, well, what kind of...
It probably felt less committal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's an endeavor. I don't have to call it a business. Right?
And the to be determined came from, I really didn't want to be boxed in. Yeah. Like, I didn't want to say even that it was a consulting firm. I'm like, maybe it's a venture capital firm. Like, whatever it's going to be, right? Maybe I'm going to be an artist. Like, maybe I'm going to write books. Right. But I refuse to be boxed in.
So you.
Yes. So I was like, to be determined. We'll figure out what this endeavor is. Yeah. And now I love it. Yeah. Now I love it.
But I think I love it too. I love the story of how you created it, but also I think it really works for what you all do, right? Because sometimes you come into a thing and like people think it's this, but like as you're helping them to ops, it's like what it becomes is to be determined, right? Like based on like how, you know, where they allow the like setting up of systems and things to take them, and like the destination is, you know, to be determined. So I think it works for the work that you do. I think it's really cool. So I just wanted everybody to have a chance to hear that. Well, thank you so much. We're not going to give them all the stuff because, you know, you got to be a member to, like, get some of this stuff. Yeah. So really excited for you to lead us over the next 3 sessions and help us to, like, get clearer, get more structure around our operations. So we will see you there at the meetup this week. And thank you for joining me. I didn't realize you hadn't done Women Wednesday.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Yes.
I look forward to meeting up.
Yes. So if you all have not subscribed to our YouTube yet, please do that. We are on YouTube as She's Well Networked. Very easy. Same thing on Instagram and on LinkedIn. We are on there as the Well Network, and we have a She's Well Network page as well. So She's Well Network is all of our broader, like if you're not a member but you just want to be plugged in, definitely tap into that network. And yeah, we're really, really excited to be in community with you. Thanks for joining us. See you real soon.